I go bicycling and everything.
All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. We are live. Welcome to another War and Pieces. I am here with Mr. Dan Pancaldi. Did I say it right this time? Pancaldi.
Yes, sir.
I can't say that damn name. It's Dan from No Enemies here, of course. I'm Rob Orrin from Rob's Tabletop to World, and today we have a very esteemed guest, the brilliant Uwe Ecker from none other than the fantastic Academy Games. Now, Dan, get whatever word you can get in now, because let's face it, this is probably the last anybody's going to hear from us because
Uwe's on the
Uwe's on the mic, and we ain't getting a word in.
Well,
call it as we see it.
You forgot to say handsomely beautiful German.
Oh, jeez. Oh, look at this. Not only you got a little bit of an all-star in here, right?
Oh man.
Hey, listen, let me ask you something, Uwe, all right?
Wait a minute. What name did you put up there with V Gates? Hermann Luttmann?
Herr Luttmann.
all these German names, they just throw them around.
Well, you know Herman.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, look at this. I guess we've gone completely German. That we're not going to speak another.
He's a man of many languages.
Yes, he is. He is at that. But listen, you're one incredibly handsome man. Let's just call it what it is.
Thanks, man.
I'm talking to Uwe. Will you knock it off? One of the biggest questions I want to ask you. Okay. There have been so many versions of heroes that you've done, which let's call it what it is. Probably one of the in my top 50.
Thank you.
Every one of those games are in at least the top 20. Okay, I love those games. They're brilliant. They get smarter each time you do it. Okay, with this latest edition, are you finally satisfied with what you've done?
I'm always satisfied with what I've done.
What I mean is, do you think this is what you originally set out to do?
No. It's always a learning opportunity of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so dark in my room here. I'm going to turn on the lights here.
While you're doing that, I'm going to say hi to Herman, Nathan, Spiros, the mighty Kabuki Kid, Monster X. We got the rough swordsman in here. We got Spiros.
You know what? That question that Rob so eloquently put out there, for lack of a better word, the game. When he asked you if you were satisfied, it really made me think. When you ask an artist, have they been happy with their performance? And it's an organic and continuing evolution. And I don't think we've seen the last of edition number 10 or edition number 11. I don't think so.
Yeah, but you know something, let's call it what it is. You don't go and grab your paint palette and go, well, you know what? Mona Lisa needs a smile now.
Right. But people don't go to the museum sitting looking at a Mona Lisa. Now they're going on Netflix watching Mona do something. And so am I happy with Conflict Fears the way it is now? Yes, I love it. Everything, I love it. The solo expansion, the solo system we've already totally redesigned. It's like
you redid it again.
It is so phenomenal now. What we did is a lot of it's cosmetic. Number one, cosmetic. We made everything picture oriented. Instead of having to read through what the commands are, now there's a column that just says what AI unit, what type. Then there's a big arrow that says fire, move, whatever. That's what the AI will do. And then very visual what the player's unit is. So now people can instantly see just through visual what the commands are. But what we've done there now is we're taking it even a step further, where we were using behavioral type of agent-based AI which says this is a situation, this is how the AI wants to react. Now what we're developing is we're taking it even a step further and saying this is a situation, this is what you as a player who is trained as a Western, let's say Army, Marine Corps officer, because Army and Marine Corps officers in general are trained in the same way, a constrained, very systematic type of way to react to a certain situation, which is historically the best way to react in such a situation. So we know in this situation, you're going to react within this decision curve, probability curve. We're going to keep it within that 1 delta or 1 sigma of your normal 3 sigma curve on each side. So now we're not saying, how am I as the AI going to react to a situation? Now what we're working on is we're saying, how are you as a player going to react to this situation?
Of the AI?
No. How is the player going to react to this situation? And I, as the AI, knowing that the probability of you reacting this way, I'm going to take an action to put you in a position to take advantage and get the advantage of it.
How are you going to do that?
Pardon me?
How are you going to do that?
He's Uwe.
We were, between Gunther and myself, we're really doing some really cool stuff. A lot of it we're developing now with the computer AIs, but we're figuring out now how we can do it even with the cards. Because, go ahead, what?
So the AI is going to push me to make an action, to create.
Yes. Exactly.
What he's saying and what he's done, and I'm going to make it real simple for you so you understand it, is that he's actually switched the roles. Because normally you'd be looking at that deck going, well, you know what? I guarantee that the AI is going to try to do this.
Right, exactly.
Instead, the AI is going, you know what? The player's going to do this,
right.
Which is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Once again, one of the things, and I just want to get this in, Dan, and I'm sorry, and I'll let you go right after I do, is one of the things that I've sold and I've sung to the high heavens about this edition is that people don't understand that you can sit there as an armchair general, okay, and say, well, this whole unit is going to go forward. Well, hell no. That's not how it works in real combat, okay? People aren't always going to listen. And the way you work that into that one die, oh, you beautiful son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That was freaking brilliant.
And what people don't see is also that we've now, even with a lot of the units, why the dies were built that way is that the machine gun units, anytime you're a group of people go down this rabbit hole, this cognizant suppression, as we call it, when they're alone, when they're seeing so much shit's hitting them from all sides that they can spiral down this hole. And everybody's politically correct nowadays. You know, you have to talk to people. If something's going wrong, communication's number one for a commander to make sure that things are going the way they want. Communication's everything. But if you don't have the communication, shit's hitting the fan, and you've got outlying forces that are not very close to the command central, they have a tendency of getting off mission objective. They're going across the field, they hear firing a mile away, and they're going to take a knee to assess the situation. Well, take a knee to assess the situation is just the same as saying you're not going to mission objective in the timeline. So, and I just talked to a lady, a psychologist this morning. We were talking about people kind of get on my case because when I went to school, I got in a lot of fights. I got the shit beat out of me. I remember the Good Brothers.
I got in a lot of fights, though.
Yeah, and I remember the Good Brothers. One of the Good Brothers, I shouldn't say their last name. One of these brothers, 3 brothers. One was my class, one was a year older, and one was 3 years older. Mm-hmm. And I got in a fight with the kid, and I got lucky, and I like to fight, and I got advantage of it. Well, the next morning, all 3 brothers were looking for me. I got the shit beat out of me, and guess what? The next few days, I was scared shitless. I was just watching my P&Qs, and guess what? I never got in a fight with that good kid again because I learned that the repercussions of pissing him off was I'd get the crap beat out of me. Now, nowadays, that's going to create all kinds of psychological problems. In those days, I'd go home. My dad goes, well, don't get in a fight with them. You know, you stupid ass. So it's the same with this.
He said, don't get in a fight. You know what my father say?
What's that?
Get back out there.
Yeah, but there were 3 of them, and they were like,
"Oh, it didn't matter." My father was a cop. Okay. So my father spent all his time arresting their fathers, so they would try to take it out on me, but I was just a sick son of a gun, and I would fight. I don't care. You got to the point that you just didn't care. You felt like a rat backed in the corner. You don't want to fight. You want to have friends. You want to be a kid, go play ball and do things like that. But when you get backed in a certain area, there's another psychological advantage because you have nothing to lose and you come out swinging.
That's true. You have to realize, though, I grew up in South America. We were in 2nd grade. We started judo. 3rd grade, we went into a Kempo, and then 4th grade we went into a very aggressive Tiger Sayak type of a Chinese attack form, and then we got into stick fighting, everything already in 4th grade. So when I came to America, I fought a lot, but where the difference is, I grew up in Germany, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and what people don't realize, Germans, we're very passive, very talking, feeling culture, especially those of us who grew up in South America, where it was all Germans and Frenchmen around fires together talking about the war. So we're peace-loving people. So I didn't go looking for the fights. No.
I to this day, my wife and I talk about it, and because of some of the things that I have to do, and I go to her. I go, I don't go looking for this stuff.
Yeah,
you know. But it gravitates, and you get to a point, you just want, I've always been a peaceful person, but unfortunately,
you're right.
Circumstances put you in a position. And one of the things that you said about the game, and I keep this in my head, is that when somebody's shooting at you, you'll hide behind a pebble if you could.
Yeah.
And I never forgot that line from you.
Well, and the thing is, where I was going with this whole story with high school and everything is,
sure. I'm sorry.
This morning, and I was saying, how when I grew up, I was kicked out of school at least 2 weeks a year, all the way through senior year, and I was, top of my class, top 3. I like to fight, But that being it, but those 3 brothers, they always beat the shit out of me, no matter what. But anyway, in a combat situation, of course. A machine gun unit, of course, where you have a crew that train together, they won't go down this rabbit hole as quick because, number one, they have a very effective weapon, probably one of the better weapons, a heavy machine gun, compared to what's around them. But secondly, if you're a crew of 3 and all of a sudden you're a gunner and you need ammo reloads and this guy's not responding well, you can turn to him and say, get going, what the hell's going? What's wrong with you, Duce? No, get me that goddamn shit now. These guys are coming. That keeps them going. Whereas individual men, as you know, will shut down a lot quicker. And we were just talking about that, how no matter what, you can talk, you can be nice and anything, but anytime people get in a stressful situation, the only way to get them out of it is not to be nice. It's to hit them across the head and yell in their face and call them their mother's worst nightmare name and say, get your ass going.
Well, while you guys were fighting, because I'm Italian, I'm a lover. I was with your girlfriend.
You were doing what?
I was with your girlfriend.
Oh, well, I was in the Lone Wolf Club all the way till I was like 14. So you probably had them no matter what.
He was with their girlfriend. Oh, for crying out loud! Hey, let me ask you something. Because I still do a bunch of martial arts. Do you still keep up with the martial arts?
You know what? I was doing Muay Thai forever. I've not been in a fight since a bad fight since I was 39. So, and that was my last bad bar fight. I keep it down. Now, I feel that with the Muay Thai and all, it's the only style I feel comfortable with. But
Mhm.
I'm noticing that I'm not having the reaction style that I used to.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is on video. So no, I do not train. I am not specializing in any type of stick fighting or knife or spoon or anything like that, because
You never give away what you know. That's why I'm talking about what I know.
so no,
But,
I don't train anymore.
Mhm.
You guys never go fishing?
Fishing, I love to go fishing. But it's it is, when I was in China, my wife always makes me go and carry a combat knife because that was my weapon of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it saved my butt when I was in Mexico City a few years ago. And here I'm going through China. I have a spring assisted combat knife with the nice guard. So if you hit something hard, your finger doesn't go through and get cut right away. And I'm going on the rapid train to Shanghai Disneyland. And I'm going through the metal detector. They go, "What's that?" And I just go, "It's just a little knife." And the guy takes it and slicks out. And he's like, they call in. I'm pulled aside. They're pulling in the head people. My interpreter's there from Mayday Games, Seth Heights there. And they're like giving me, filling up forms and all that. And my interpreter's, he didn't mean it. He's since I always go overseas in German passport, he's from Germany, that's their company, what they do. And the guy's like, so I finally said, listen, tell him I give him this as a gift, not to throw it away because it's a very good knife. I don't mean it for anything, but tell him as a gift because you don't want to throw away because it's a very high quality knife. It's very good. He can use it. And I give it to him as a gift. And the interpreter said this to the old guy. This guy was like in his 40s, which is ancient in China for the guards, And he looks at it, and he looks at me, and then he looks at the young guy who'd called him, and he looks at her again and goes, puts a thing in his pocket, puts a form, walks away. And the guy who called me is just sitting there, and the interpreter just says, "Walk away." And we just put on that train, So I learned a long time ago. Anyway, so people, when I go for massages at 1 o'clock in the morning, some real seedy part of whatever city I'm in, and Duce, when you're in China, always prepay.
Yeah,
prepay your massage because that means you're not looking for anything extra. Prepay and ask for their oldest, most experienced masseuse, and you'll get the 21-year-old, and but
that's so bad. That's
welcome to War and Pizzas, folks.
That's the one thing I learned. If you don't prepay, it means they're going to try to impress you, so you pay for the extra stuff. But I'd always sit there in my shorts and my soup spoon in my hand, no matter where I was, and they could never understand why I always carried a soup spoon because we went to places.
Can you stop? Stop.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
It's not war games.
We do have a question for you. Is there a separate science fiction / fantasy game division under development at Academy Games?
Yes, that is our.
Oh, really?
That is our. We have 3 divisions of games.
Mm-hmm.
We have our.
Ooh, bombshells.
We have our Academy Games, which is our for historical and war games. Mm-hmm. Then we have Apollo Games. And Apollo Games is for our sci-fi fantasy division.
Mm-hmm.
And we have licenses signed. This year still coming out. We have Stellaris, which is the biggest 4X space game out there on the internet. We just talked to Paradox Games, and Mutz, who's our interface, said it was one of their best years ever. They had, this is a paying game. They had, on average, 640,000 players every night playing.
Holy Stellaris.
That's going to be a huge game for us. It's
Mhm.
going on Kickstarter this fall. We're putting a lot of resources. It's going to be very unique. 4X like it hasn't been played before. Everything you do, again, Radiant storyline, but you're building up your civilizations, and everything you do in that civilization can affect you later. If you go in this world and it has all the resources you want, and there's this primitive tribe there that's giving you problems, and you wipe it out. Well, later on, when you hit another civilization, what you did, if they were spacefaring at the time, they may have heard about it, and all of a sudden they had the key that unlocks that lock, that secret of yours, and it comes out, and nobody wants to work with you because you did this despicable thing which radiates forward. So it's going to be a pretty cool game. Also under Apollo Games, we have a very cool, I should put up the screen, I can, but it is a 3D racing game. It's a first in the series. These are all magnetic. If you remember the movie Tron.
Yeah.
So this is a racing game. You have all these blocks, and you have your start line. And on your turn, you either move. You have two ways to move. You can move. Then you're going to shift. It's called reality shift. You're going to shift your reality where you can take any block. If you have three cards in your hand, and you shift them by twisting them up, by rotating, by moving them. So all of a sudden, here you have your opponent's up here. He's going for the finish. It's your turn. You're way over here on this side. Oh, that's what's throwing me off. So he's up here going for the finish line. It's your turn. You do the reality shift. You come in here, crush him. He's dead. And you go then, boom, right there. And you go for the finish and you win the game. So it's going to be a crazy game. The first one is a racing game. The second one is a 3D space combat game where everything is three-dimensional. You're shifting space around it. We've got some really cool games coming out with this.
That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. I'm ADD. It doesn't work.
It is kind of cool because as you're shifting the battlefield and everything, we have it on board and you can turn it and see it from all angles.
For me, I'm all in.
It's going to be cool.
I feel this.
Did you have something, Dan? Because we got another question here.
No, okay. I don't have nothing.
Okay, good. Uwe, the COH have scenarios that are highly curated. Do you feel that there is a particular order in which people need to learn the system?
First thing, curated, chiefly British. Curate, a member of the clergy. No, that's not it. Verb, to take charge of or organize, to pull together, sift through, or select for presentation. Okay. I now know what curated means.
Yeah.
And today we learned on War and Pieces.
The missions, you read so many rules, play 2 missions, read another set of rules, play a mission, etc. So I recommend to play the missions in the order that they're presented in the mission book.
Yeah, it's a modular system.
It's a modular teaching. Now the new France game, which is almost done here, and I'm sitting over here play testing like crazy. Mm-hmm. That's one of the missions on over there. But in the France 1940 game, which is Germans against the British and French, and then the people will be pre-ordering. And I'm not telling anybody till it's at the printer and ready to ship soon before we take pre-orders.
I don't.
But it's going to be separate books for the Germans and the English.
Oh.
And then when you're going through your mission book, of course, like we're going the history and the people and all. This is just a printout that I have. But on your mission book now, you have, this is the English mission book. You have what you think the German forces are and where they're set up. So you'll see units where the Germans are. And let's say you as the French are attacking in, and you have the Germans in here, and you see their positions. Well, your recon may not have been correct. So what you have here is what you think the reconnaissance is and what the units are. And you're basing your setup decision based on what you see.
Well,
Same with the Germans.
That's your replayability factor on that. Is that right?
That's one of the any of the missions you can play. You know, most people get our games, play the first 4 missions 10 times and never get beyond them because they have so much fun with the first few.
Right.
But what we're doing in here then is also that players, not only after the first time you know it, in the later missions, we're giving you the option then to change how your factional forces, which ones are coming in. So yes, it will be very replayable, but we're doing it on purpose that when the first time you're playing through these against your opponents, what you think is there and how they can set up, because they have setup parameters that they can set up. And sometimes what we're doing more and more now is you see where the Germans, where you think they are, or where the French are, you do your setup, but you're only doing half your setup. Then the Germans start doing some of their setup. Then the French do the final setup. And then maybe the Germans have some reinforcements coming in. So it's no longer setup, French setup first, then the Germans, or vice versa. Now it's more, we're coming in, we're doing our setup based on what our limited recon intelligence is. And then based on that, the Germans are reacting. And then based on that, the French are reacting. So we're doing the setup a little more like our firefight generator, where you're going back and forth and kind of playing the tug of war. So,
which
again,
was brilliant.
Saying, are we ever happy with the system?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy with the system. Will it change in 2 or 3 years as gameplay evolves? It could be. Yeah. But again, with this new system, all the old games work. We give you all the free rules and just, you need to die, you know?
Right.
So it's this France 1940 is very cool.
Adds another layer to it.
I'm sorry. Yes,
I said adds another layer to it.
Yeah, but no new rules. It's just
no. But I mean, you got more content now.
Right.
Basically, is what I was trying to say.
But what we're doing now with Storms of Steel, the solo expansion, it is no longer going to be a mission book full of missions. Now it is you're getting a deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a book that tells you for Storm of Steel, for Kursk, it's for the Battle of Pionetsk in the north. And you are the commander of a company, normally company. And now you're saying the situation. This is the first mission. Boom, that's it. From then on, everything you're playing against an opponent, against the AI, and you can play opponent when you have the solo also, but everything you're doing, you're then pulling cards that's telling you what's happening. So if you're coming to the right flank and you're taking the heavy main rail station and you get it in a certain time frame, then it says at the beginning of this mission, if you take this rail station, pull cards 58 and 59. So then I pull 58 and 59, and that's going to all of a sudden give me intelligence as a commander of what I see, what's going on, what's happening. Mm-hmm. And those cards then also are going to, depending on how I react, influence what the Russians and Soviets are doing. As I'm going through this then, the mission continues through from orders I'm getting, and it'll pull cards that'll show you your orders typed out, or intelligence, or prisoners coming in, and what you've gotten out of them, depending on what you're looking for. So the whole game is just based on this deck of cards that ripples all your decisions forward. So you're playing mission after mission. If you decided not to go after the heavy rail, but trying to get a flanking on them, and at that end of the mission, you took the end of this flanking, there's no more winning or losing, because you took the flank, and all of a sudden then the cards that you're pulling for taking these objectives, all of a sudden saying the Soviets have pulled back. This is the area pulled back, showing a map on these cards as they're laid out. And you have now 6 hours before you fear that they're going to do a counterattack. What do you do?
Uwe,
enjoy this next thing.
Uwe, all these new mechanics.
It's not new mechanics. It just, you're no longer reading a book. because the cards are prompting you and teaching you as you're playing along.
I mean, it's new mechanics. For lack of a better word, what else can it be?
It's never been done in any game that I know of, other than what gave me the idea, pushed me is time stories. Which is everything you do has locks and keys. But the thing which I don't like about Time Stories, which is an ingenious series, so mega tons of games, but there's only one rat way through the maze.
Exactly.
Where we don't want one rat way through the maze, we want you can go do anything. But if you take this objective in day one, it's going to give totally different consequences to the campaign than if you take it in day 3. So even though you may take the same objective in day 3, what happens is totally different, because on top of that, the timeline, everything, the way the system is worked, is that you're influenced by what actually happened in the battle around you. And if you were successful, how would that have helped the battle? And if you're not successful, how would it have hindered the battle in some way? Because if you're pushed back and all of a sudden that gives the Soviet a pocket in flanking either division to the right or left, they may have changed their advancement objectives and decisions and timeline. So it's very different. And then you're playing this, and you're playing this as yourself. We're making this more like your own story. And it's not like a book, oh, you do this, go to page 12. No, this is so interrelated with lock and keys. If you take this, you've got this lock then, this red symbol lock. In the future, if you want to do something, it gives you a key. I'm sorry. It'll give you a lock. If you have this key of what you've done before, boom, it unlocks it. You can do it. If you don't have it, you ignore it.
So it sounds to me like this is a pure solo game to me.
This is going to be pure solo, but you can also play 2 players.
Yeah.
You can also play it solo. The 2-player, you're still being driven by the cards, but the Soviet player then, or in the future, the German player where you're playing the French, they're the one that's driving what's happening because you're making the decisions from it. But it's still very tense because as a Soviet player in this system, you're trying to beat the Germans. If you beat the Germans and you're pulling objectives, if the Soviets take an objective, you pull these other cards and it gives the Soviets the benefit or different.
Now, Uwe, I mean, fantastic. No doubt about it. And we do have some other questions, but I do have a question for you that I've always wanted to ask you. Gunther, your son.
Yes.
Okay. Brilliant, well-educated kid. Okay. And I remember you telling me his background. He
highly in mechanical engineering, biomedical, and specialized in DNA manipulation with protein markers.
Yeah, that's all. Could have done anything in his life. Could have gone any route. You talk about locks and keys and all these other things. He had all the keys in his hands, and he could have locked anything he wanted to and gone and done anything. Why come with you?
It was easy. He has 3 patents going through right now. One for early leukemia detection. He also did some origami DNA where he has a system of being, from a corporate mass standpoint, being able to make single DNA strand tetrahedrons. And with the tetrahedron, of course, you've got a negative valence on the bottom, high valence. So you can put any type of chemical in there that'll get sucked in this DNA individual DNA strands, get sucked in with a protein marker on the top that'll go after just, let's say, leukemia cells or something like that. Inject into mice, it goes right at these cells, opens up, kills the leukemia in 20 minutes. Leukemia is gone.
Are you kidding me?
But no, and he's got a trademark patent going on this. But the problem is, for him now to get this to fruition, the only jobs he could get was working for a big corporation, sitting in the lab for 10 years trying to get it through the FDA, or working in a college. He says, Dad, I don't want to work on this one thing for 10 years. Then it could be the best thing in the world, and guess who's going to make all the money on it? The corporation. I get nothing out of it. So he came with me. We did our first Kickstarter for Mare Nostrum. did like 680 on
Which-
Kickstarter, another 300,000 on products. We did almost $1 million on stupid game. He goes, why would I ever want to work for a big corporation with leukemia and all that when I can have fun doing the games? And he's the one who really is pushing a lot of this agent-based solo. That is his baby because it is what he pulled from biology, how biology thinks. And that's one of the things that we also find out with the government and the military and all. They're all thinking in one way. All of a sudden, Gunther's coming from this biological area. I come from mechanical engineering. And we're taking the statistics and probability and my passion, which is psychology over the last few years, adding that agent-based component. And now we're coming up with AI. So because of his training, the AI is going to
it's unlimited because it's just unlimited what you guys between the two of you have done.
Awesome.
And you know, Agent of Mayhem, another fantastic experience. And if people don't have that, please run out and go get yourself a copy anywhere that you can if you can find it. Or can they get that from your website or
on our website or Amazon? It's all around.
It's all around. Buy this up. I'm telling you, go check some of my painting videos. Very soon, we're going to be doing some more stuff with it and here at the channel. And I think I'm going to hold another paint class because I think you got more expansions coming out as well, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, then I got to paint them up and send them to you, don't I? I got to paint them up and send them to you, right?
You know, a lot of people go, oh, it's a sci-fi game, but it's a 3D tactical game, tactical shooter with height advantage and everything. And it's got an over 8 rating on Board Game Geek. So it's very popular. It's just a lot of our war game people are like, it's a sci-fi game. And it's
okay.
That's a shame.
So Starship Troopers.
Yes, so with Starship Troopers, it's just a matter of getting a few more people to get it on the table and play it through and show everybody step by step. And also there's a solo variant coming for it too soon.
Oh, Gunther's been working like crazy on it. What he has done with that is phenomenal now because this is different, and it's what's helping us also is for our solo. And one thing we can talk about later is what we've done with the Marine Corps Association. We've gotten the rights now. Colonel Woodbridge is
we've talked privately a lot about that kind of stuff, that you've been hitting a lot of war colleges and stuff like that.
Yeah. In our ComOps, it's going to be ComOps, combat operations. It's company to battalion level game where you're commanding it. Much more with ComOps where you have to do your pre-op 5-stage pre-op type of commands. And then the after action reports, very deep. We have been working with them for several years right now to get the rights to do this in the board game for training and also then for the mass market. And that's going to be really exciting because it's with my passion, it's going to bring in a lot more of the real life training components, where that's why our map boards in the future are all going to be, these are new map boards. Let me get an erasable here. All our map boards, and I think I showed
here. You need this one?
Yeah, but now you're going to go in and you're going to do your pre-ops, and like you do in real life, you're going to have your units. You've got certain site type of assets. You believe where the red team assets are, what their capabilities are, and then you're going to go in here and you're going to put in your objectives, and you're going to write the objectives right on the map with a permanent marker, with a dry erasable, wet erasable. I don't care. This is a permanent marker, so that's going to be permanent. It doesn't come off. But now, if I take a permanent marker or alcohol and I go over it and I make it wet, and then it comes right off. So our map boards are going to be laminated in the future so that we can take this next step. And you're saying, how's Conflict of Heroes going to evolve? Our company to battalion level engagements are going to use Conflict of Heroes base rules, but we are going to bring in a lot more true pre-mission analysis, and we're going to go through in that game a lot more through a standard pre-op type of 5-step a methodology that the Army and Marine Corps uses in planning for an operation. So that's why we're going to call that ComOps.
Wow.
So,
Every time, go ahead. I'm sorry, Dan.
it's okay. Uwe, so with all these, and I know there's going to be more editions coming out, and actually that's very exciting for me, okay? Because it's like having Beethoven's Fifth. He's come alive again, and he's expanding it, but whatever. Now,
hopefully he's not getting more deaf and blind.
So, what would you say? I mean, would you keep, like the second edition comes out, would you keep the first edition for reference, or would you sell the first edition when you get the second edition, and so on and so on and so on? Like, what would you do? Would you keep them as reference, or would you get rid of them? Is
for a game?
For, let's say, Conflict of Heroes, Kursk, the Storms of Steel. You got editions number 1, 2, and 3.
A guy called me up once, and I'm not going to go through the whole conversation because it's not politically correct. But he was so mad. He said, when I had the first edition, came out the second edition, and then now the third edition, he called, I'm quitting your system. I'm never going to buy a game again. You're screwing us over. You're making me buy the game over and over just so you guys make more money.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm never going to buy your game. I said, man, I am so sorry that I insulted you so bad, and I didn't mean to insult your religion and all that, blah, 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 and I won't go into details. He goes, what do you mean? And he was miffed. I go, well, because, I believe, of course, and I'm not saying anything, but when the New Testament came out, of course, you don't believe not. The Old Testament was there. It was a great book. Why go to the New Testament? So I didn't mean to insult you in any way. He goes, what do you mean? I'm Christian. I go, no, because the New Testament, why? What was wrong with the Old? And then he was quiet for a few seconds, and then he started laughing, go, you son of a bitch. And guess what? He bought the game, the whole thing, and he wrote me and said, it's phenomenal. So, but I just did that as a joke because I always get in trouble. My son always goes, Dad, you can't say that. Like, even now, I shouldn't even say that. But to me, it was funny at the time, and damn it, it's still funny.
That's good.
And Rob's going, oh, he shouldn't even go there. He should.
Oh, man, listen, don't worry about it. It's only my channel.
Will we be putting Vikings on stream?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Will you be putting
stream?
We are working with a new company now in Germany, with a brand new Conflict of Heroes series. A fan put an incredible prototype on YouTube like 5 years ago on an iPad, how he would make the look in the game and all.
Right.
And so we've been looking to do that. The problem is with the new AI, we don't want the standard iteration, ladder logic. This is the best thing for the AI to do. We want to use our new AI system for the digital version. So we finally found a company because we wanted to either keep it in America or Germany because of the rights of our company. We couldn't go to like Russia or India. No offense to either company or country, but they have incredible programmers. But we don't want to work out the nuances of the software AI in those countries because we have no property rights that we can go after easily. Whereas in Germany, they have very strict property rights, as in America. Whereas in China, they'd be copying it left and right. So we are working on the Conflict of Heroes series. And once we have that down, we are also looking for digital versions of Vikings and Freedom Underground Railroad.
Wow.
So both of those also. But in the past, our problem has been with those. The companies that did a great job, but we always had to work with them quite a bit. Gunta did, to make sure that the AI was working. So we don't want this standard war game AI. We want our AI, the behavioral agent thing. And as I was saying before, now our AI is not just looking at this is a situation, how am I going to react in a high probability format? Now I'm looking at how are you as an American or Western commander going to react to the situation? Probabilities you're going to lie in here. Now I'm going to take advantage knowing that's how you're going to react. I'm going to take these moves to make you pull you out even more the way I want you to react so that I then can take advantage of that. So that's where that first is going in the digital version. So we're doing a lot of work on that.
All right, we have another question here. Speaking of the new die, when can we order it to work with the new rules and our older Conflict of Hero games?
As I tell people, it's a 10-sided die. It has 2 1s, 2 3s, and 2 5s.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have a 0, 9, or 8. We have some, and I think we are now ready. We ordered more to come in, but we only had so many, and with the pre-orders and everything, with the one small step, that we're going to stop the pre-ordering on here very shortly. But this is going to be a good game. But I'm not gonna divert too much like I usually do. I'll get back to this maybe. But
no, we will.
Is that we had to make sure that people pre-ordered this and got Conflict of Heroes also have the dice. And now Kari feels pretty confident. So we're going to probably be putting it on our website soon. The astute people have been calling us directly on our number and saying, hey, you have the dice, I want some. They go, yeah, sure, we'll ship them out. But all you do is take a 10-sider. On the 0, you put a 1. On the 9, you put a 3. And on the 8, you put a 5. There you got the die. So,
it's easy as that. There you go.
You can get all the rules.
Just killed all the sales.
The tracks, everything for free. Download them online. So really, all you need if you have first or second edition, all you need is to take a 10-sider and make those with a permanent marker, the 3 marks. You have to remark them every game because even permanent wears off. But
yeah,
there you sit.
And when is the solo AI for Storms of Steel coming out?
Well, the solo AI for Storm of Steel is the same AI as Awakening the Bear because it's Soviet against German. The psychology hasn't changed. It's a Guadalcanal. Yeah, that one will work for both games. Mm-hmm. The only thing why that works better for Awakening Bear is because we have an Awakening Bear mission. Well, guess what? With the new Storm of Steel coming out, we're basing it on, it's going to be the same AI, but it's going to be a different commander. So the AI command is going to be different than that. It's going to be the same system, everything, but it's going to be a different psychological delta curve or a sigma curve for the Soviet commander. So what we're doing is we're making different command packs, a Guderian pack, a Rommel pack, Rostov pack, from all the different commanders. And the AI is going to act like that commander then, much more. So a Patton is going to be totally different than, let's say, a Guderian, who's totally different than a Rommel, who's different than Montgomery.
That's beautiful, Uwe. That's beautiful.
We're having fun with it.
I say, yeah, you're awesome.
Let's hit a little bit on one small step. How bad with everything that's going on? We're not going to talk about that, but how long has that knocked you off?
It's knocked us off in really weird ways. The one small step was supposed to come out in. We were supposed to ship it in January, but we had some issues with the map, where the map was it had a valley fold in it, and what we mean by valley fold is like your scheiß Dreck, ich hab das Ding da hinten.
Hey, there's children here.
Oh. What?
I have the
no, go ahead.
set up over here.
The guy's swearing in German.
Dan, this is your chance to say something.
I was put my game away.
I'm just saying he's actually taking a breath.
So Rob, what do you think? Should we have this guy back on? Oh,
hey, how you doing, Ove?
So what a valley fold is like the Monopoly game, where when the fold is out, it's a solid. It's a solid.
Well, that looks like a mountain fold to me, not a valley fold.
It's a solid piece that there's cardboard in the middle. There's no cardboard, and the paper is like this, and then there's cardboard here, and it's solid. What that does though is that the board then has a big divot valley in it when it's set up, like a Monopoly game. With our games though, we like when you have them set up that everything is totally flat. Everything's flat. So that means that we have to have in our folds a reinforcement tape going over it, and then straight paper. So when they fold and open and come like this, it's all nice and flat and straight.
It's tight on the seam. It's tight on the seam.
They've done the whole damn run with Valley folds, and we were supposed to ship in January, and they sent me the production game, and I go, "What the heck is this?" They go, "Well, that's what we wanted. That's what you said you wanted." I said, "No, we specifically say blunt folds, no Valley folds, and the prototype white box you sent us was the correct way." And they go, "Oh." So we were delayed. We then hit the shutdown in China. Now, this is what's interesting. I've talked to several other publishers, is that between January and beginning of May or mid-April, that time frame, it's like the average printer's brain has been reset. And I think a lot of people haven't made it back or haven't come back if they were from a further region away, because God bless it, our Storms of Steel, where we printed 10,000 copies of the American version, and then we said we want to translate into German, Spanish, Polish, Chinese, and all that, blah, 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 Czech. They print them, and they print them totally different. Like the cards, they're 8 command cards, and the proofs, everything. They're 8 command in English. They're going to be 8 in German. 8. They're like, really? Or this game has 10-sided dice in them. It's in the quote and everything. I got the prototypes. They're no 10-sided dice. They go, "Oh, we didn't know they needed them." I said, "Do you have any of our English copies in the house?" "Of course." "Open one up. It's in your quote." And they open up and go, "Oh, how about the stress markers? What are these?" There are 5 of them. They're
it's just boneheaded stuff, and
they're like, I think it's because I think many of them people just haven't gotten back yet. I don't know what it is. It's like they're resetting, and it's not just, it's every print I've worked with. I've talked to other publishers. Something happened where I think the owners, who are probably the richest people there, I think they still stay at home and just call in and say, "Hey, how's things doing?"
Hey, trust me.
You know,
trust me.
You do have a therapist, eh?
And I don't ever want to talk to Rich M again. I'm insulted. He is. I feel aggression coming towards me, and I never want to hear the word Gettysburg Bloody Crossroads. The cover right there. Again, because I'm working on it. Damn it!
You're killing me. This is too funny. Oh my God.
Rich, I just want to say Gettysburg, which really was done 4 years ago, but then I decided to make the hexes bigger and everything. Because of the delay, we've made so many improvements in game engines that the Gettysburg game now is even tighter than it was.
And it's never
now so tight. What we're doing with Panzergruppe Guderian, that's the old version, Jim Dunnigan's. The Guderian's Harvest is the new name we're doing for the game, where we took and totally modernized it. What we did with that game to get rid of the tables and just playing and continuously. There are no more phases, no turns. You're playing the whole mission, trying to get to Smolensk, and then on to Moscow. It's totally streamlined. And what we've taken from that and from Agents of Mayhem, what we've developing with Conflict of Heroes, now we're bringing back into Gettysburg, and it's even better. It's even better. So, and where I did not think at the time that we could make Gettysburg with a solo expansion, I think any game now is critical to have solo immediately in the design phase. We're not going to build it into the base game. It's going to be either a 2-player to 6-player game. And if you want the solo, it's got to be separate, because what people do not realize is the time and effort it takes to develop a solo campaign.
Yeah.
They go, oh shit, all I got is this little box with some rules and some cards and all. That costs $3 to print, and you're charging me $40.
Listen, I could barely tie my shoes. You think I can make a solo game?
Yeah, I mean, guess what? I had to pay and take my wife out to dinner for the last 2 years developing this dang thing. So,
let me ask you one final question here, because we got time enough for one final question. Unless you got something, Dan.
No, are you kidding? I'm gonna throw up.
Conventions, good thing or bad thing not having them this year for you? You know,
that's almost a whole different show, because I've been talking to a lot of.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because
I'm glad you said that.
Well, because quite honestly, I'm looking at what GMT Games is doing and everything else, and we've been successful because we go full distribution. We go with tighter margins, but we sell crap loads of war games.
Right.
And GMT sells crap loads also, but you know, if I do a standard print run of war game, it better be the first run, better be 10,000, and I better sell out of that in the first 6 months, because it's a $90 war game, and we usually sell the first year 10 to 15,000 of a base game, and then over the next few years, our average game sells between 20 and 30,000 copies. So now things like Freedom sells a lot more. You know, Awakening Bear sold 54,000 so far.
Right.
So, and when I say 54,000, that's all 3 editions. It's not like we sold 54,000 a 3rd edition.
Okay.
Well, hey, we better get moving and get that thing moving to 254,000 just the 3rd edition. So make sure you go over to Academy Games and buy Awakening the Bear.
It's actually out of stock through all distribution.
Never mind.
We still have some on our website and on Amazon.
Well, that's what I was saying. Go to your website. Yeah. Go to Academy Games.
But you know, it's interesting because we're looking at it, and we've missed now 5 conventions in the last month and a half.
Right. But aren't the costs really high? I don't mean to interrupt you, but aren't the costs really high?
Well, not only
go to these things.
When I go to, like at Gen Con, we have 26 volunteers. Last year, we ran over 130 events and tournaments. We had a big 40-foot by 80-foot area in Gen Con. We have to get the 26 people in. To coordinate, to get it all going. Then to have the booth. For the booth, we're paying like $9,000 for a little space. Bringing it in, shipping the stuff in, the big trucks, the hotels of $1,000 per room for the show.
which is just insane.
It is insane. So once we're all done, we speculate our costs and efforts to go to a show like that $16,000 to $20,000, and the time we're wasting organizing, going back and forth. We've had a spring now without shows. You know how much stuff we've gotten done?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's incredible. We have games coming out that we haven't. We've got something called the Genome, where you're building up modern day. And we're using modern day actual things that the military is working on. Where you're building up your genome and mechanically enhanced warriors, and as you're building them up, you're fighting each other during the game, trying to disrupt the genome development. And it's a 3-dimensional game. so that's a genome, which I haven't even ever talked about, but that's very close to being done.
We plan on having you back very soon if you like to come back.
Yeah, I would. But the quick thing is, am I happy? I'm actually coming to the point where I don't even want to go to these big shows anymore.
Because how much you get done.
Yes, because all the people that come.
I think it's very eye-opening.
It is because, they charge a lot. We have to put so much effort into it. We come out hoping we just break even. But then we go to shows like WBC, only 3,000 people, but they're all real war gamers, tactical gamers. You go, it's a beautiful area. The hotel rates are only like $130 a night in a beautiful condo on a hill. Or we go in our RV and we camp out in the campgrounds, and it's relaxing. The people are nice, and guess what? We make money there.
Yeah,
and it's not stressful. It's enjoyable.
I think the day of the spectacle is coming to an end.
And that brings up, how are stores going to survive? Are the brick and mortars, and how many brick and mortars are actually carrying war games anymore?
Yeah.
And are we smart keeping the games open when all of a sudden then everybody's selling them on Amazon discounted, where I got no problem discounting game 25%, but some of these guys are coming in 40% discounts, making a sliver of money, but they sell them. They're getting the game for the wholesalers. They got 30-day terms, so they're getting the money right away. They're making maybe $10 a game, but guess what? That's a 20% margin on money they didn't have to prepay on, and they get big volumes. So they're driving the market down. So that's a whole different ball game of me wanting to support these huge conventions. Small ones, I'm all for. We went to PresCon for the first time. Ooh, awesome. Met Dan, at Board Game Geek Con, Dice Tower, all these really. But the biggies, I'll keep on going to Essen though, because
Uwe, save that, because we're gonna have you back with just that in mind.
Sorry, I'll stop.
We got something we want to talk to you after the show. So, which we're going to wrap up right here. Anyways, we've just done an hour with you. Again, everybody out there, listen to me. Go to his website, buy everything he has, frustrate him. Okay. It might actually quiet him. If you buy everything he has, he might just sit there and not say anything for almost maybe 30 seconds. There's a good chance of it. Go to the website, check it out. He's got everything that he talked about. You're not out of stock of anything through your website, are you?
We're fully in stock. We even have a few left of Strike of the Eagle signed by the designers.
Strike of the Eagle, which is a phenomenal game.
We only have 12 left in stock, signed by the designer, which we never had.
Mar Nostrum, that game is phenomenal.
It's
one of my favorite games. Again, your games sit in my top 20.
Thank you.
I mean, there's no doubt about it.
We have a phenomenal expansion coming out for that, by the way.
No.
Yeah, the Parthenon expansion.
Ooh. You are glorious. You are great. You are wonderful. Dan, I think Uwe said it all. We actually had a show where you and I really didn't have to work. And I want to thank you, Dan, for coming here and just sitting there and just kind of let Uwe take over.
Guys, I am so sorry. I get so pumped.
No. We love it. You have no idea how much we love it. And we knew coming in, and all we had to do was prod you a little bit and let you just get going. And it was phenomenal.
Thank God it's a family show.
Yeah.
Put on my headset.
But again, listen, for Dan, myself, Uwe, everybody, I hope you stay safe. We love you all. Make sure you go to Academy Games, some of the best games that you'll ever play. Absolutely brilliant. Great company, great people. I can't speak higher. His wife is wonderful. I mean, look, Dan showing off the game.
And if I could make one last comment.
Absolutely. Take us out of here.
Last Kingdom on Netflix. The Last Kingdom. Bernard Cornwell, phenomenal. We just watched the last of the 4th season.
Listen, if Uwe likes it, you'll like it. That's all I have to say. All right. For Dan, myself, and the great Uwe.
Oh,
Until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon.